Surprise! I said in the last episode that there would be a bit of a surprise for episode 3. And while technically the video has not really changed at all, there's nothing huge in the video, especially if you're watching this. If you're watching this anytime, like a week after this video goes up, you're not going to notice the difference. But the surprise is that I'm doing an extra Game of Thrones reaction. Yeah, so basically, a bunch of you guys have said that you want me to do 2 episodes of Game of Thrones a week. That ain't happening, first and foremost. That's not happening. But what I will tell you is that there was someone who suggested something interesting. They said, and I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry if you're out there, if you're watching. I don't remember. I don't remember your name. I'd love to shout you out in this, but I don't remember. Sorry. But basically, they said if I did 1 extra Game of Thrones reaction a month, I should be caught up on Game of Thrones by the time that Season 8 comes out. And I actually really like that idea, because 1 extra per month is a lot more manageable than 1 extra Game of Thrones a week. So, yeah, pretty much, somewhat once a month, I'm going to set aside a Sunday to bring you guys an extra Game of Thrones reaction, just so that we can catch up in time for Season 8, and then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to try to watch Game of Thrones live with you guys. We'll watch it when they come out, which will be interesting, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that without an HBO subscription, but I'll figure something out. I'll definitely figure something out. I think you can get HBO, whatever HBO streaming service through Amazon Prime, maybe. I'll look into that once we get closer to that point. But yeah, so I should note that while I'm saying that there's going to be an extra Game of Thrones every month, there probably won't be one in October, because I just got a lot of other videos that I've got other videos I want to do in October. So pretty much, so basically what I'm going to do is the first Sunday in November I'm going to do a Game of Thrones reaction, and then the last Sunday in November I'm going to do a Game of Thrones reaction. So technically in November you're getting 2, even though that first one will technically be October's extra. So yeah, just a little thing I wanted to say right off the bat here for what I'm doing with Game of Thrones. Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with Game of Thrones. Last time on Game of Thrones, we had the Nightlands. Tyrion is chilling out in King's Landing. We have still some conflict between him and Cersei, as to kind of be expected. Cersei doesn't really care for Tyrion, but whatever. And he's sort of, I don't know, he's kind of like solidifying his position a little bit as Hand of the King, and like rooting out the commander of the City Watch, not the King's Watch, but the City Watch, that overthrew Ned Stark and appointed Bronn. Meanwhile, Stannis is trying to ally himself with like pirates and stuff so that he can take King's Landing and overthrow the Lannisters. What else? We got the one dude, something Greyjoy, the kid, basically, I don't remember his name, but the one that's been with Robb at Winterfell and stuff. He went back home to the Iron Islands to try to get his father to ally himself with Robb. That didn't go over so well, and now Balon Greyjoy, which I do believe is his father's name, is going to try to separate the Iron Islands as their own independent state. So we have a 5th king, and what else do we got? Arya and Gendry are still headed for the Wall, and Gendry now knows pretty much who Arya really is. Beyond the Wall, we got Jon and Sam. Sam wants to take one of Craster's daughters because she's pregnant, and if it's a boy, Craster will do something to the boy. And at night, Jon saw Craster take a baby out and went after it, and I believe we saw a White Walker out there, and then Craster knocked Jon out. So, yeah, don't know what all that's about. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. Let's stick to this episode of Game of Thrones and previous episodes that I've reacted to. And with this huge, long intro out of the way, let's get right into episode 3 of season 2 of Game of Thrones. Here we go. Oh, we're getting right back to it.
Yeah. What business is that of yours? No, you don't understand. He's killing them, all the boys. You know.
Yeah, he knew.
Wildings.
It's an evil he
Sent
has
from
to
the gods than you or I.
he has to ignore it.
I'm running through the Godswood, sniffing the dirt, tasting blood in my mouth when I've made a fresh kill.
That's right, he's dreaming of being a direwolf.
And what boy doesn't secretly wish for hidden powers to lift him out of his dull life into a special one?
Oh, I get that.
The dragons are gone. The giants are dead.
Giants. Uh-oh.
And
Oh,
the children
I guess
of
they're
the
gone.
forest forgotten.
Children of the Forest? Wait, we talking White Walkers, or...?
I ask the honor of a place in your Kingsguard.
Is he gonna do it?
Done. Rise, Brienne of the Kingsguard.
Cool. Great job, whoever you are.
I swear to you, I will see the Lannisters answer for your husband's murder.
Well, that's nice.
When I take King's Landing, I'll bring you Joffrey's head.
Sweet.
If Robb Stark wants a pact with us, he should come himself, not hide behind his mother's skirts.
My
What?
son is fighting a war,
Yeah, he's busy.
not playing at one.
Ooh. Oh, he likes her.
And all of them young and bold like your Knight of Flowers. It's a game to you, isn't it? I pity them.
Why?
Because it won't last. Because they are the Knights of Summer and winter is coming.
Oh, interesting.
Securing the neck and everything above. Every stronghold will yield to us one by one. Winterfell may defy us for a year, but what of it? The rest shall be ours. Forest, field, and hall.
You're just gonna take the North while they're not there.
You give her 30 and I get 1.
The sea bitch. We thought she'd be perfect for you.
Why?
And to fight fishermen.
Be careful of their nets.
Why are you involved in any of this? I thought you supported the Starks.
I fought.
We do not plough the fields or toil in the mine. We take what is ours.
Well, the North isn't yours.
The time with the wolves.
You gave me away, if you remember. The day you bent the knee to Robert Baratheon. After he crushed you. Did you take what was yours then?
Jeez, that was a hell of a swing.
And now you curse me because I've come home.
Wow, that is a good point.
Why? You think your father can hear me? He's 300 miles away!
He's trying to read.
I don't intend for you to stay here. She'll look for any weakness she can find. She can't know about you.
Yeah.
I'm the weakness.
It's a compliment, my lady.
How is being a weakness a compliment?
Would you just... You are dumb, because you do not
No,
understand what Tyrion's under.
I'm too stupid to understand. The stupid foreign girl.
Ah, she got me there. Dang it.
Is Joffrey going to kill Sansa's brother?
He might.
Joffrey's impulsive
Do you
like
like
that.
No, I don't think so.
No. Interesting.
Even if he does, Sansa will do her duty.
Isn't that
Nothing
right?
tough.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Know what I mean?
No.
You said to brush your... now.
Tyrion didn't think this through, did he?
I'm trusting the council with these plans, but the Queen mustn't know. Can't have her meddling in affairs that could determine the future of the realm. There's too much at stake.
Oh, yes.
I don't like where this is going.
Yes, I shall be silent.
Princess Marcella will wed their youngest son when she comes of age,
Okay.
ensuring their loyalty and their army should we need it.
Marcella.
Clever.
The Queen mustn't know.
Why?
Ooh, the Queen mustn't know.
Oh.
I love conversations that begin this way.
Oh, clever.
Plan to marry Princess Marcella off. But remember, you must tell no one.
Tell no one.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I plan to wed Princess Marcella to Robin Arryn of the Vale.
Robin Arryn.
Liza
What?
is not fond of me. But perhaps the promise of a royal match will convince her to let bygones be bygones.
Maybe
She
not.
imprisoned you. That must hurt.
No, that actually does hurt. He is not into it.
You won't get away with this. You think the piece of paper Father gave you keeps you safe.
For you and paper, get over it.
Ned Stark had a piece of paper too.
Everyone has paper and you don't like it.
Cersei.
No.
They'll mount her pretty little head on a spike right beside yours.
Get out! Get out!
He's still, he's trying. He's trying to protect them. Somehow, I'm not sure. Oh, it must be the battle plans. And he's burning it. Dang it, man! Man. You suck.
I would.
Neil.
Unless this is some sort of...
Let Theon, your servant, be born again from the sea. Yes.
Unless this is some sort of play, like he's gonna
Bless him with salt.
tear him down from the inside.
No! Please, please!
You disappoint me, Grand Maester.
I am your loyal servant.
So loyal that you told the Queen about my plans to send Marcella to Dorne.
No! Never! No, it's a falsehood. I swear it. It wasn't me. Varys.
You
It was
ratted him
Varys
out.
the Spider.
I told no one that I was offering her to the Dornish.
Yeah, and that's what the
No one
Queen
but
knew.
Eunuch has spies everywhere.
Cut off his manhood and feed it to the goats.
No goats, house man.
We'll make do.
Figure it out.
For your trouble.
Yeah. How nice. Old man's really putting up a fight.
When you have those things in your head.
She can't sleep because of her father.
You didn't see that. I made damn sure.
I close my eyes and I see them up there.
Yeah.
All of them.
Still traumatic even if she didn't see the head come off.
I buried an axe so deep into Willem's skull they had to bury him with it.
Oof. That's brutal.
Willem's horse got me to the wall, and I've been wearing black ever since.
Huh. Are they from King's Landing? Or are they just dudes? Ah, dicks.
Drop your weapons.
They gonna do it?
I don't think I will.
They're not gonna do it. Oh, no! Aww. Good grief. Not him. Oh, you dicks. Ah, Gendry, don't. What did he just say?
Help! Help me!
Oh, they're not gonna
What's wrong with your
help.
leg, boy? Look at it.
He took an arrow to the knee.
You gotta carry me.
Well, that's not happening. Man, screw you.
Carry.
You already got him.
Clever. That was him.
He loved that helmet.
Ah, clever girl. Oh, is that the end of the episode? Ah, crap, that's the end of the episode, isn't it? That's the end of the episode, dang it. Alright, clever girl. Saying that that's actually Gendry. And finally, I understand now. It's Gendry. Oh my gosh, I am so down low here. See, what I want to do when I do these discussions is like sit like this, but you can't see my eyes anymore. So, I just gotta sit back like a normal person. Alrighty. Quick brush of the hair. Just to make it feel better. Cool. Alrighty. Yeah, stuff to talk about. Not as many notes as the past couple episodes, but we still got stuff to talk about. Pretty good episode. First off, this is not really... This is more of an observation about the show now, and then not really a specific plot element. Oh, well, it's fine. Sorry, just closing programs. This is not a... Yeah, so this is more of just an observation on the show itself now. There is no main character anymore without Ned. Because... Now, I knew going into this that this was a huge ensemble show, and it is. And it has been throughout the whole show. But it's interesting that throughout pretty much all of Season 1 until he dies, Ned Stark is basically the main character. That's the thing. I feel like Ned Stark was very much the main character of Season 1. So... because he was the plot line we focused on the most. It's like he had probably the most screen time per episode, and the whole plot was sort of revolving around him. And then occasionally, you know, we would cut away to Daenerys and Khal Drogo, or we'd cut away to the Night's Watch. Now, we don't have Ned Stark, and I guess sort of what's happening in the show, without Ned Stark, you know, the death of Ned Stark kind of puts us all into chaos. Because there's so many storylines happening, so many different little side things happening. They all still work into one main plot, but we don't have the one center. That's the thing, it's like we have so many different side plots all working towards each other, but we don't have a center, the center which was Ned Stark. So... that's just something interesting. Unless maybe... I don't know, but I feel like... Now, I feel like every single, like, side plot is getting a decent amount of time altogether. Like, they're all getting about the same amount of screen time. You know, we're getting the plot with Tyrion, and what he's doing as Hand of the King. You could maybe argue he's the main character now, but I don't think so. We've got stuff with Arya and Gendry going to the wall. We have Jon and Sam. They're past the wall. We're getting their stuff. We're getting more of the wars. You know, some of Stannis, who wasn't in this episode, but we get some of Stannis. We get some of the Iron Islands. We get some of Robb, who hasn't been in the last 2 episodes either. But then we cut away to Catelyn and Renly Baratheon. So that's all interesting. But again, I feel like there's no core. There's no core to this story right now. And maybe that's just how we're going to be for a while. I don't know, again, because I don't know anything about Game of Thrones. I don't know if we're going to get another main character, like we start to focus on one person. I kind of figured that with Ned Stark dead, Robb would become the main character. But I mean, we haven't seen Robb in 2 episodes. You know, we saw him at the beginning of Season 2, and that was it. We haven't seen him at all. And it's only now that we're seeing Catelyn again, finally arriving to talk to Renly. Renly, who we hadn't seen since Season 1. So, yeah, I kind of thought that Robb would be the main character now, but there's really not, because it's a war. I guess that's it. Is because right now it's a war between everyone. Is that there's no core storyline. It's that everyone's story sort of builds in on to the main story. Or everything builds in to become the story, basically. Whereas last season, Ned Stark had the story, and then there were things around that all worked back into Ned Stark's story. So that's just an interesting observation I thought of. And I especially thought of that when I started doing the recap for this episode, before we started the episode itself. Because when I was trying to remember everything, I remembered a lot of stuff. Like, a lot of things happened last episode, but I couldn't remember, like, the core storyline that was happening. So that's when I really started to notice. And then throughout this episode, I was like, yeah, there's no main character anymore. It's just all these stories that are happening. I wrote down, to get back more into the plot, I wrote down Renly's war. It's interesting, Renly, we cut to Renly, he's not on the battlefield. I don't even know where the heck he is. But, I don't know. Now, granted he has 100,000 men, so maybe they're doing stuff, but we have not seen anything of Renly at war. And to be fair, we haven't seen any of Stannis at war yet. You know, it's supposed to be this big war between all these things, but the most war we've seen was between, and this was mostly last season, or in the season finale, it was we've mostly just seen Tywin and Robb in open combat. Whereas Renly does not seem to have arrived at the war yet. Stannis hasn't arrived at the war yet. Obviously, Balon Greyjoy hasn't arrived at the war yet. He's just now planning how he's going to his war against Robb Stark to take the North. Which, screw you, Balon. Dude is crap. And to that point, I wrote down Theon. What the garbage? What even? So, Theon, who finally I learned his name in this episode. We've had Theon for a good number of episodes, but only now do I really start to remember his name. Theon was a ward of Winterfell. He's pretty much grown up. He spent 9 years at Winterfell. What seems to be the best friend of Robb Stark, and now a day trip to his home, and suddenly he is all against Robb and ready to take the North. What? No. That doesn't make any sense. I get it's his family, it's his father, and he wants his father to be king of the Iron Islands again. But betraying Robb, your best friend and your lord who you've been with for 9 years, longer than you've been with your father, because he said that he's been with the Starks in Winterfell longer than he was in the Iron Islands, so he's maybe 17, I guess. Interesting. He's about 17, and he spent most of his time at Winterfell. And just in one day, well, maybe not one day, but in a little bit of time, that in the time that he's been back home, suddenly he's on board with his father for taking over the North, and what I can only assume is executing Robb Stark. Like, I don't see any other way that Balon's gonna want to resolve the war. I'm just pretty sure he wants Robb Stark's head, and I do not understand Theon. And then the last thing I wrote down was Tyrion's plan, which originally, I wrote that down because of just the scene where he was telling the three of them about what he wanted to do, marrying off the princess, which is interesting. We actually got more of Joffrey's siblings. We really never got a lot of them, other than, you know, 1 or 2 scenes. But hey, now they're involved. So I do like that. And it's interesting to watch him work. And it's like... And yes, he did technically, you know, manipulate Varys and Baelish, but... Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me, God, I'm trying to burp. Sorry. He did technically manipulate Baelish, and Baelish didn't like that at all. But he did have a plan. Now, originally, I thought he was going to... Oh, what was it? I don't know. Like, I was kind of thinking, like, is he trying to pit these 3 things against each other? Destroy them by having them maybe fight a war against each other so that they're not a threat? But it didn't really seem like that. But, in all actuality, he only did this to root out a spy. One of Cersei's spies for him. Or just one of Cersei's spies. And he basically just rooted out the old man, which was interesting. And even though, yes, he did have to manipulate Varys and Baelish, and Cersei was not happy at all about what he was doing, you know, marrying off the princess. He did root out a spy, and he's going to extreme lengths to make sure that he is safe as the Hand of the King, because, to his credit, to be fair, the last 2 Hands of the Kings did die. You know, Jon Arryn was poisoned, Ned Stark got his head cut off. He doesn't want that, and honestly, he's kind of securing the position for Tywin, for his father, because once he can pretty much safeguard the Hand of the King, once Tywin returns from war, if that ever happens, once Tywin returns from war, then he will take over a position that is incredibly secure because of Tyrion, which is very clever. And hopefully Cersei gets the message that he wasn't actually going to marry off the princess. So, because she was pissed about that. So, but yeah, unless secretly he actually is going to marry off the princess. But I don't know, I think that was just all part of his plan to root out the spy. So that's basically all I got for this episode of Game of Thrones. All in all, pretty good, like they all are. And yeah, had a lot of fun. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm stalling my outro on this. I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I'll see you guys this Friday for your regularly scheduled episode of Game of Thrones. See you later. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Game of Thrones reactions, you can click on the playlist down here. You can watch some other videos over here if you want to. I've got the subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and you can follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you later.